Hey everybody, I have legendary YouTube anime and illustrator Mr. Brandon Reed. Just to run down a quick of his resume, over 2 million, I think over 2 million subscribers. I tried to count the views and whatnot, but I couldn't count it. So just say umpteen, millions and millions of views. I can guarantee that, no exaggeration, millions and millions of views. I mean, he's got I think like 3 or 4 shows he's animating simultaneously. He's actually a voice artist. He's a he writes, he edits, he directs his own shows. So all the writing, all the jokes y'all been hearing, that's all from him. I mean, the legendary Brandon Reed. Let's give it up for him.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey man, so I just like to cut straight to it because I know everybody's excited and they geek to just to see you and whatnot. So I guess my first question would be is like coming out of high school, right? What was
Yeah.
your journey? Tell me your journey from high school.
So from high school, right around high school, I kind of put like everything down. I wasn't drawing as much, just because like in high school, it wasn't really that cool. People didn't really care,
Right.
that you did that, or it wasn't something I could brag about doing. So I was just like, whatever. When I got out of high school, I went straight to college, but I went for graphic design because I was like,
Wow.
that's the closest thing to, drawing and artwork that I could get to that I thought at the time.
Right.
So I went for graphic design. I ended up getting my associate's degree in
Mm.
graphic design. But halfway through that, we did an animation course, and that's what kind of sparked my interest back in it. We did like animation and like sketching classes, and I was
Right.
like, man, I just, I forgot how much I love doing this. So that's what kind of got me back into it.
So you talking about you went to school and you started in the sketching and started designing and whatnot. Okay, so you was doing that, and then what made you say okay? Because it like I've done and I've been across different studios and whatnot, and usually there's a team of people, like a sea of
Yeah.
people doing so many different jobs, and I'm not even talking about the audio and voiceover and music and none of that. I'm just talking about straight animators. So what made you so ambitious enough to say, look, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start this by myself. What was the like? Were you just like, what was it?
So it really was seeing people do it on YouTube. I would
Wow.
get on YouTube and I watch like, different channels with just a bunch of different, animated videos. And
Right.
huge shout out to Cartoon Management. One day he had just inboxed me and said, "Hey, you should try this program out." So then I tried it, but then I started watching tutorials and stuff too. And I'm like, man, I could do this.
Wow.
And right around that time, I just had this thought in my head. I was like, man, I can't really afford to go back to school to do animation. So why not try to figure out how I can do it myself?
Man, that's the
And
move.
I spent like 2 years just learning the program, watching tutorials, and
Wow.
then from that point on, it was like, yeah, it's go time.
Man, that's what's up. So not only you went to school, but you're self-taught. So it's like a combination of both. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And that's super dope. And I think just having the energy and tenacity to go at it and say, look, I see a goal and I'm going to achieve it no matter what, whether it be school or self-taught. I think that's huge. So you picking up and you start animating. All right. So you drop your first video. Did that first video just explode and that was it from there, or how did it happen?
so it kind of did. Like that first video did get a lot of views, but this is around the time where animators was like very limited. Like it wasn't very many animators online. And I
Mm-hmm.
put out a cartoon. I think it was called Sideways or something like that. It was some stupid.
Right.
So I put that out, and I put out like a small clip of it,
Right.
of me just learning the animation program, and it got like 5,000 views. And I
Wow.
was like, yo, 5,000 views is a lot for me
Mm-hmm.
because I could barely get 20 views on social media. So once I seen that, that really motivated me because I'm like 5,000, like it's 5,000. I don't even know 5,000 people. Let me try it again.
Right.
So I tried it again, and I think the next one got like 3,000.
Mm.
And then I kept, posting it around. And I was like, man, if these cartoons of me just thinking of my own stuff is getting this 1,000 views, why don't
Right.
I think of something crazy and see
Mm.
if I can get more views? And that's when I thought of doing the cartoon parodies. So I was like, well, I'm gonna do, Hey Arnold, and I'm gonna,
Right.
switch it up, make it urban. I'm gonna make him black. We're gonna call it
Right.
Hey Antoine.
Mm-hmm.
I put that out and I put it on Facebook,
Mm.
just to see what people would think. And when I put it on Facebook, it got like thousands and thousands of shares, like just a
Wow.
picture of it. It didn't have a video yet. So it was like building up for the video. Once I put the video out, the video ended up getting like 100,000 views. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh yeah, that's all I needed to know. That's all I needed to see. It's
Mm-hmm.
go time.
Ching ching. That's what's up. That's what's up. So, did you draw the Hey Arnold character, the black version of it?
Yeah.
Wow. So did you do the Because you got the Simpson parody in there too. You drew those characters.
Yeah, so what I'll do is
Wow.
I'll, look at a picture of the original character and see what
Mm-hmm.
I can add to it, to make it look funnier, to make it look like
Right.
something that people will look at and be like, oh, let me click this and see what this talking about.
Wow. So that's crazy that you could just look at a cartoon and just emulate it and just freestyle it and draw it out. And not only that, you can animate it. Because I was
Yeah,
looking at the Simpson. You had like the not the kind of Simpson-ish, the Homer-ish character you had with the mouth animation. I was like, man, that's super dope.
it's
That
crazy because when I first started drawing, I used to how I learned how to draw is I would
right.
like trace over stuff and I keep tracing and tracing and tracing
Mm-hmm.
until I memorize how like where each line was supposed to be.
Right.
So nowadays I can just look at a picture and emulate that over to the side. Or sometimes if I'm doing like realistic drawings, I use like a grid method where I look at the grid and focus on each box until I can
Mm-hmm.
get that image the way I want it to be.
Oh, that's what's up, man. See, I like that how you keep working, keep grinding until it's right, man. So let's talk about Lil Ron Ron, which is my favorite. My of your tunes, man. I think Lil Ron Ron is my favorite, man. That dude be killing me, man, killing me. So you got Lil Ron Ron, right?
Yeah.
Is I mean, is that a seen a crowd favorite? A favorite? Is that one of the crowd favorites? Cause I see Lil Ron Ron is that's my guy there, man. I
Yeah,
identify with him.
it definitely is. It's crazy because the guy that I collaborate with to
Mm-hmm.
create that rhyme, he had kind of had a buzz with that character, but the character didn't have like a face or anything. It was just him, acting out these videos, and it was
Right.
hilarious. And that's when I kind of reached out to him, and I was like, "Yo, if we could make this into a cartoon somehow, I
Right.
seen the vision before I
Mm-hmm.
even messaged him. I'm like, yo, this could be big. So
Mm.
I messaged him that, and he was like, all right, yeah, go for it. I don't think he really thought nothing of it at the time. He was like, yeah, do your thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I did it and sent it back to him, and then we put it out. I think August 16th, I
Mm.
think. And literally that night when we woke up the next morning, it was everywhere. Like
Wow.
it was, man, celebrities were reposting it, had like 2
Wow.
million views.
Wow.
Yeah, our followers were already, climbing from that point. So it was
Wow.
just like at first, we might not have thought nothing of it, but the day that we put it out, we knew we had something.
Wow. That's what's up, man. See, that's hard working and believing in yourself and then, making your vision come to life, man. So you didn't stop with Lil Ron Ron. You know what I mean? You came out with two you got a total of 3 shows under your belt. Is that am I right on that one?
Yeah. So far we got Lil Ron Ron. We did a full season of Gotta Be Mo. We started the season of Lumen. I'm trying to think if we got a couple. Well, I got a couple more, that I collaborate with other people. Like there's a series called Jerome,
Mm-hmm.
that was going crazy for a while. And then the parody series, I got a bunch of those, but those aren't my original. It's a parody of something else.
Right.
So yeah,
So I mean, the Cartoon Connect, I feel like it'd be small to limit you to say you do one. I feel like you're a network. You know what I mean?
yeah, for
I,
sure.
you're definitely a network because once you cross 2 and 3 and you 4 and then the parodies, it's like you have different parodies and then I mean you're technically a network. You're I wouldn't say one man band, but you run a network. You know what I mean on YouTube, which is amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Truly
for sure.
amazing.
I
So.
even work with other,
Mhm.
animators that, have dope ideas that may not have the platform. I
Right.
work with them using Cartoon Connect as a network to, help bring people, bring awareness to other animators and just, build a platform as big as I can.
That's what's up, man. It's important to give back. And when I was on your channel, I was noticing that you had like the top 10 lists of animators and stuff like that, just to bring attention to what they were doing, man. I think that's really crucial. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't have necessarily the fan base that you have. And for you to reach back out, I think that's super dope. Super
Yeah,
dope.
for sure. I felt bad about doing that video because I know, some people may have gotten left out, and I didn't do it for that reason.
Right.
I really just did it to, bring awareness to a lot of other animators.
Oh yeah.
Some people felt left out, but I'm like, I didn't, mean it in that way.
Yeah.
I just may not have, seen their animation at the time.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get everybody. It's impossible. You know what I mean? That's why you
Yeah,
come up with a version 2 of the list, and the version 3 of the list, and version 4, and so forth and so on. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
So that I mean that's really dope. So how long does it take? Like I know people want to know like specific questions. How long does it take to animate one scene? Like just one scene. How long does it take?
For me, it really all depends on the timeline
Mm-hmm.
and or how long the audio is and how detailed you want it. Like a episode of Lil Round Round and scene of that, I'd say like a 60-second scene. I could do that in a couple hours, but that's because
Mm.
I have all the backgrounds, the
Right.
characters, and everything already ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I started from scratch, it might could take up to like 7 days, 7 to 10 days to do
Mm-hmm.
60-second to 2 minute cartoon from scratch. It really just depends on what the idea is and what all we have to do for it.
Oh, that's awesome. So let's say if I was a major brand and I wanted to reach out to Brandon Reed and say, "Hey, Brandon, I'm a major brand. I want to. Are you open to that? Major brands coming in and reaching out to you and say, look, let's partner up on something."
Yeah, for sure. Right now, things are a little busy because I just took on two major projects.
Mm.
I can't speak about them yet, but
Right.
they're like big, like dream come true, like companies that I would have never thought to work with type projects.
Awesome.
And one of them is actually a rap artist. So it's crazy, man. This year has been crazy, and especially due to COVID, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of companies can't get out and actually shoot stuff, so they're looking for animators. So this
Mm.
was a blessing in disguise. I can't even lie because if COVID wouldn't have happened, I might not have even been able to do some of the
Oh
projects that
man.
I've been able to do.
See, that's preparation meets opportunity. So if you in that grind and the opportunity's gonna present itself, that's what's up. But let's talk about that COVID. How has COVID affected your day to day? Other than what you just mentioned, has it affected your work schedule? I mean, are you more in the house more? I mean, how does that affect you?
Yeah, before COVID, I was traveling and doing a lot of different events.
Mm.
Rather that be like creator events where you meet up different fan events where you meet up and meet the people that support you.
Right.
YouTube events,
Mm-hmm.
all of that was shut down, so I can't travel at all. But I'm in the house a lot more, and it actually taught me a lot when it comes to running a business because
Mm.
I never had a point in my business where something that I could not control
Mm.
affected it.
Wow.
So now that I've learned that, what I'm saying, it taught me so much when it came to that.
Wow, that's what's up. You took it as a lesson and put another notch in your belt, the already established belt. Man, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. So speaking of like that, what about R&R? You know what I mean? What about like relaxation? How do you? Because I know I know that you're doing a lot of work. You have so many shows under your belt. You're doing so many things. How do you juxtapose that with like what do you do to relax?
Man, it's sad to say I don't really get to relax much because I come from nothing. So
Mm.
in my mind, I'm afraid of falling back to that state. So I
Mm.
I never take a day off, which is it's terrible. Every once in a while, I'll take a day off and just like sit back and watch some movies to get some
Right.
inspiration. But every day, my mom called me, my girl, and my kids. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
is like, "You should slow down, take a break, take a rest." And I'm like, man, as much as I want to, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like as soon as I take a rest, somebody gonna pop up and be doing more than me, and
Mm-hmm.
they gonna be able to say they working harder than me, and I don't know, it don't sit with me right.
Wow, that's what I'm talking about. You got to grind, man. It's that grind. You have to. So that work mentality got you to this position and pushing you
Yeah, for
forward.
sure.
And a lot of people don't. A lot of people just like look, and they only try to do it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like when you run a marathon, like a real marathon, when you're running, everybody start. You start with like 20 people, then it drops down to 15, then it drops to 10, then 5. That last dude who has the guts, as long as you're moving forward, you don't stop. You still have an opportunity to win. But once you
Yeah,
stop and you quit, then it's a wrap, buddy. You're gonna
that,
jump to something else.
that's facts. I started off when we first came out with Lil Ron Ron.
Mm-hmm.
We knew we had a hit after that first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Every day after that, like my schedule was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I've told this story like I don't know how many times, but I enjoy telling it because it's inspiring for me. I at the time it was just me and my first two kids, and I lived in an apartment with them. I was barely getting by, so I would wake up at 6 in the morning, take them to daycare, go to
Mm-hmm.
work from 9 to 5, get off at 5, cook
Mm-hmm.
them dinner, chill with them for a couple hours, put them to sleep by 8, and from 8 until like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, I'm animating,
Boom.
and then I sleep for 2, 3 hours, get back up and do it again. Like I was so dedicated in that time. It's times today where I'm like, man, I wish I could get back to that, but I'm like a lot older now than I
Right.
was at the time when I was doing that. So
Uh,
that's a little more difficult. But People don't really see that side of it. They don't see sacrificing sleep and everything else
Come on.
just to make this dream happen and to create this. And just based off of that schedule and that regiment, the first season of Lil Ron Ron had like 40, I want to say like 40,000 or 40 million views.
40 million views. Good God Almighty. That's a lot of views, man. I don't, 40 million is just like, you know what I mean? And that's that grind. That's that, you work those 40 million views. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's important, man. I try to tell people if you get in this entertainment business or you're an animator or whatever the case may be, it's a long grind. It's not for the weak. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not for the weak. So you using a Wacom or using a mouse? I know we talked about it earlier.
I started off with the mouse, and now I'm using a Huion. I
Hmm.
think it's the Huion. I can't remember the specific name of it, but it's one of the, I think, 22-inch Huion tablets.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. And definitely, I was over there doing like hand exercises just to balance it off. I started when I was working when I work projects, and sometimes I work maybe, no lie, I work maybe like a 30 hour straight, 30 hour, take a shower, eat some food, jump back on it. And I was working so
Yeah,
much that my hands started to hurt, and every time I would click, it would hurt just a little bit, like ow, ow. So I started using the mouse with my left hand, and just I became
dang,
ambidextrous with my left hand. Hey, when you got work, you got bills to pay, you got kids to take care of. I started using my left hand. Then I started getting a more aerodynamic mouse. But I'm like, man, push come to shove, and I was using my left hand for like maybe 15, 16 hours. You know what I mean? Getting it in.
yeah.
It wasn't.
That's
It was.
crazy. Right before I got the tablet, I was
Hmm.
looking into getting a different mouse, and
Right.
somebody had told me about I forgot what it's called, the
The,
specific name for it, but it's like the stand up mouse where you can like
yeah.
do
The
like
vertical
that.
one. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep. You and a lot of people don't understand the grind that you got to get in to do it, man. And I mean, I definitely gonna. I have a project I'm working on with a 2D animation project, and it's still a learning curve, trying to get my workflow right. But as soon as I get that right, I'm jumping in the ring. So that's what's up, man. But let's talk more about the future of Ron Ron. You know what I mean? How do you
yeah.
see yourself? I mean, do you see yourself turning into like going to Netflix, or do you see yourself more or less turning into your own network, like a Disney app? And what do you see your pathway?
So right now, Lil Ron Ron, we are working with Malico Records to
Hmm.
help produce the show. So
Hmm.
it's me, Ron Boy TV, and Malico Records, and we've been, kind of just independently with the label working on those seasons.
Hmm.
And man, we're to be honest, we're open to whatever happens in the
Right.
future. But until that happens, we just gonna keep rocking it out
That's what's up.
independently, knocking these seasons out.
Hmm.
We also got a mobile game coming, which is gonna be dope when we get that ready.
Oh, that's huge.
And we branching out to do a lot of other things like comic books, coloring books,
Oh man.
just merchandise and everything
Oh, facts.
for the show. And man, I'm excited for the future of
Man, that's
Lil
what's
Ron
up.
Ron.
I'm definitely getting the first little round my T-shirt. I need this the shirt, the hat, the whole fit, the whole kit and caboodle on that, man. So,
Definitely for sure.
hey, money's in the mail. Let me ask you about inspiration. Do you watch Japanese anime? Has that influenced you any?
Yeah, I watch. So I don't get a chance to watch as much anime since I'm, working so much. But
Right.
since a kid, I've been a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I remember days where I would walk home from school in third, fourth grade and sit in front of the TV with my Goku and my Piccolo action figure and just, watch that. But I love, the style of anime. So whenever I
Mhm.
get a chance to watch, I watch and I try to take, different things from that one
Mhm.
and put that into my animation.
That's what's up, man. Far as comedians go, because you got a humor, you was blessed with the humorous side. All right, who's some of your go-to comedians? It's like Dave Chappelle. Is it Eddie Murphy? Who's some of your go-to comedians?
I think Dave Chappelle is probably my number one comedian.
Hmm.
Next up, I don't know. Kevin Hart's pretty funny.
Right,
Um, Mike Epps, I love
Mike.
Mike Epps
Oh,
too,
classic. You got the
and it's
energy,
it's
man.
it's dope because he's from Indianapolis, and I live like an hour and a half away from there, so
Wow.
that kind of hits home.
So wow. So you grew up in Indianapolis, right? Born and raised.
South Bend, Indiana.
South Bend, Indiana. I actually,
Yeah.
I was in Indiana for 2 years of my life, right?
Yeah.
And I was originally born in Florida, and Indiana's cold, man. Oh
Yeah,
my
it's getting
goodness.
cold out there now.
Oh my goodness. Yo, cause the ground was they said it's something called black ice from the south. We don't know nothing about black ice, right?
Oh yeah, black ice ain't no joke.
Oh my goodness. So make a long story short, I was walking out and the ground, I just the ground was just looked like regular ground. Bam, busted just like that, man. But
Yeah, man, it is no joke. I remember last winter
mhm.
I got out of my truck and I was just walking to the house and it was so slippery that I could barely walk. So like I step out the truck and I'm just
Come
sliding.
on,
It's
that's
crazy.
come on, man. I mean, it's that black ice ain't no joke, and it was so cold, man. I had a cavity in my mouth at the time. The cavity started being aggravated, like I was eating cold ice cream. I said, oh no, I got to go home, man. I got to go home. This is too much for me, man. So I first opportunity I flew back to Atlanta, man. It was crazy out there, but I think the cold it benefits you and it makes you kind of stay tight, get work done. You know what I mean? When there's a lot of
Yeah.
sun, Miami's not a good place to work, man. I'm trying to tell you. Um, but yeah, I think that's crucial, man. So your parents were they like military background because you got that discipline? How'd you get it?
Nah, I just I grew up with I got two sisters and a brother,
Mm-hmm.
and they did they thing, but I was able to watch them
Mm-hmm.
grow up and make I mean not to say they made a lot of mistakes, but I got to watch
Right.
them go
Yeah.
through the ups and downs. So after watching them do everything, I knew what not to do, what to do. So
Okay.
I'm the baby of them all. So
Oh wow.
I
Congratulations.
just hey thank you,
They
and
say
I
they say
just
the best for last.
man, I watched them and I kind of just got it together, and just watching my family go through stuff throughout the years, um, and just watching all of these successful people on TV, I started to think to myself, why can't I do that? So
Exactly.
in my mind, I just thought, I don't know, I just kind of figured that if I dedicated myself to something, I put my
Mm-hmm.
mind to it,
Right.
I could probably make something happen. So I just tried it out.
Man, that's crucial, man. Because a lot of times you got to be self motivated. Because somebody can motivate you
Yeah,
for a day, but end of the day, in the middle of the night, when you got you and it's give you only yourself to eat. Because when you're working like how you working, you have your own ETA. You got to make yourself do it. You know what I mean? No one's clock watching you like that. So, I mean, just discipline is so crucially and so important, man.
and that's the craziest part because discipline is what keeps everything going. Like right over here,
Mm-hmm.
before I used to just work. Like I didn't have any like schedule written down,
Right.
nothing. I just worked and worked and worked, and I realized people would hit me up and be like, "Hey, did you finish the project yet?" And I'm like, "Oh shoot, I didn't get a chance to finish that yet." And that's because I didn't have a list of all the stuff I needed to do. I was just working.
Right.
Nowadays, like right here, I got like a whole list of stuff, and everything
Wow.
crossed out is something that I finished, and I got it broken down into different smaller portions. So if I
Mm-hmm.
got a 2 minute cartoon on my list, I got 60 seconds, 60 seconds, 60 seconds, and I can knock
Wow.
out 60 seconds in a couple hours. So I knock
Mm.
out 60 seconds, cross that off, move on to the next project. So now all of my projects are getting finished simultaneously because
Wow.
I'm working on a small step of each one of those projects at a
Right.
time.
That's what's up, man. So let's talk about the work. You doing the voiceover, right?
So for Lil Ron Ron, I don't
Mm.
do the voiceover.
Okay.
For Gotta Be Mo, I do voice acting. For
Mm-hmm.
um, parodies, I do voice acting. It
Mm-hmm.
really just depends on
Depends.
the series.
So you do some of the voice work. Um, the music, you get that music with your team. You hire that music together.
Yep, depending on what series it is. Some of the series I do the music for.
You do
Some
the
of the
music?
series, yeah, I do
Oh
music
my
too.
goodness. So you're in Fruit Loops or I don't know the programs, but you
Yeah,
make
I
it.
use Fruity Loops or sometimes, well, before COVID, when I was traveling,
Mm-hmm.
like when I would go to LA, there's a studio in LA called The Vault by Sean Two Miles owns it.
Mm-hmm.
He's worked with the Dog Pound, a lot of other artists. He worked with Snoop
Right.
Dogg, and me and him, link up and record at his studio. I've recorded in a studio in DC also. I think it was
Right.
in DC, but I do a lot of music too. That's what I really started off doing
Wow.
before animating
So
is music.
let's talk about that. Let's dive into that. So you had a spin in the music because I feel like the music industry it teaches you a lot, man. It teaches you
Yeah,
the grind. It teaches you how to make moves, and it teaches you that how. just because you think something's hot, when you put it out there, it might not be as hot as you thought it was. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
it
Cause
humbles you. Go ahead.
the music industry definitely does that. It's crazy. I'm from Indiana, but I've done, shows out in New York.
Right.
And I remember the show that I did out in New York. It didn't have the biggest turn. Like it wasn't like a lot of people there,
Right.
but it definitely taught me a lot watching the footage back. But it also taught me that just because everybody's not watching, there's somebody there watching. Like just recently, I checked a video that I uploaded for my set I did in New York, and a guy commented on there and was like, "Hey, I was at his set, and I'm just proud to see everything that he's done, since then."
Wow.
So that one person from New York,
Wow.
it's dope to have gained them as a supporter because
Hmm.
coming from Indiana, it's hard to get out of just your city when you start from nothing.
Right. Yeah, man. You just don't know who's supporting, who's watching. Like my friends used to say, the streets are watching. Whether you're doing good or bad, they watching. So, I
Yeah,
mean, that's
and music is way harder to get out there.
yeah.
Cartoons is it's a little bit easier because everybody animation is something that everybody want, but everybody can't do.
Mm.
So animation is easier to get circulated. Music, it take a lot of money being put behind it, and it take a lot of really perfecting your craft and learning.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's facts, man. I mean, I feel like I watched the lineup with they have the whole cartoon lineup with the Homer Simpsons and I forget what's the Rick and Morty and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And I had an opportunity to work at Adult Swim, so I had to see some behind the scenes and stuff like that. And just to eat, like there was one she was working on this one show, and I kid you not, it was show was supposed to air at 10 o'clock p.m. We got done with that thing at 8:30, and I was the
dang,
last. I was looking the last shot, man. It was like it was my first, but it was like one of my first TV joints that had to work like
yeah.
that. I didn't know. I always thought it was like done a month in advance like that. We working, man. I'm sweating bullets. I'm like, oh man, my computer freezing and all that. I was, oh Lord, let me get this. Just let me get the shot through. Shot through. They approved it. Man, I was it. I fell asleep right there in that chair. That was it. I was tired, but
Dang, that's crazy.
it's just like it's those that type of stuff, man. It just happens like that. It's such a crazy thing that grind. I mean, it's a lot. I would say working independently is a lot harder than working with a company. And then, but I would say working that company, it gives you that discipline, like that you have that self discipline to
Yeah.
wake up and because that's what I'm about to do. I'm taking note for you. I'm about to give me a dry erase board. I'm gonna get my wall up here. I'm gonna get my little Brandon Reed wall so I can cross things out.
That's
But
bro, a goal wall. That's what keep me motivated. Like, you really gotta have that self motivation to really be able to, keep it pushing, keep it pushing. I got a goal wall up here that got goals written down, number wise, project wise, and it's really, really broken down. And then it got like motivational quotes on there, so I can just get up in the morning and look at that, and just think about my why. Why do I,
yeah.
need to get up and get this done? Why do I need to put that grind in? Man, once I got all that together, I'm motivated. It's time to sit down and get to it.
Hey man, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna definitely get a goal wall, man, because I think freestyling is cool and it feels good, but you're not hitting the right uh, uh, levels. You know what I mean? I think we have a goal wall. You say, okay, I gotta work to this, and you give yourself goals. Okay, I'm gonna get X amount of subscribers. I'm gonna do X amount of views, and I'm gonna work to that, and I'm gonna passionately push it forward. And then when you reach that, you have another goal. I'm a strong
Yeah.
believer in that. I need to personally execute a little bit more of that myself. So so growing up in Indiana, you come to Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
How that transition, was it for cartoons, for tunes, or was it for just happen organically?
So I've been to Atlanta twice, and or both were for like certain events. So I had to come out there for an event that we did for a little round where we kind of
Mm-hmm.
set up. Um, I think it was called. It was like the something expo where like it was a big stadium with like a lot of people and different booths there. So I came there for that, and
Mm-hmm.
that was like life changing experience because I I didn't know like how big my reach was in Atlanta until I got there and we opened up our booth
Mm.
because it was crazy. Like so we were the biggest booth at this whole event, and this event was huge.
Wow.
And that part really like it kind of
Inspired you.
yeah, emotionally because
Right.
there was one family that came there and they said they drove 8 hours just to
Wow.
say hi and meet us. So
Wow.
that's when I really like it really hit me that I was like, man, I can't give up now. They just drove 8 hours to come
Come
and
on,
meet
man.
like the creators of Lil Ron Ron. Like that's that's
That's huge.
dedication.
That's
and
huge,
and
man.
and it's crazy because it's something that I created. Like just now, I well not just now, but the other day somebody was like, "Man, you seeing the little Ron Ron cakes and people dressing up as them for Halloween?" In my mind, I'm thinking like, "Man, this is all because of a character
Mm.
that I drew up one day."
Yeah.
Because I said I wanted to animate something. Like it's mind blowing
That's
that I was able, or that I was even able to do that.
that's
So
just
like to go to Atlanta and get that much love. I man, shout out to Atlanta.
yeah.
They show me so much love when it comes to my content and everything that it's just like it's crazy.
Man, I mean that's huge. Just showing your impact on the environment. I think even in that, like talking about like giving back and like just the kids seeing you. You know what I mean? We gonna
Yeah,
get into it. Like being a person, of African American, person of color, whatever terminology they floating right now. But like just seeing that, because I know what got me into. I feel like when I was doing animation, I'd never seen anybody else like me. I feel like, well, shoot, it's just I'm going in as a pioneer. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I'm one of my first jobs. I got the job. I was like, all right. I was so geeked. I was so excited and stuff like that. I was early. I'm talking like 45 minutes early, and I got there, and it was like not the owner, but like somebody else senior was like, I walked in. He was like, and I never forget. He was like, oh, you want the maintenance people? You got to get the brooms in the back. And I was like, word. And ever since then, so then I was like, nah, I'm not
dang,
maintenance. I'm one of the animators. And he was like, oh well, we got to check on that. So I said okay. So I went back in the car and sat. And as soon as I seen the owner come in, I was like, hey man, I'm ready to start. He said, oh yeah. So he walked me in and whatnot. But I remember thinking, and I walked in, I was the only black person out of like 45 people, and other than the maintenance crew. And so it was like I remember thinking like I gotta open up the door because this is just a lot of people want to do it, but they don't have the opportunity to do it.
yeah. And in my mind, I was kind of thinking like I watch Cartoon Network, Disney,
Mhm.
all of that. At one point in time, I did want to be an animator for them, but
Mhm.
then something, I don't know what it was, but something just told me to think bigger. Like in my
Mm.
mind, I was like, why, why? I mean, not saying I wouldn't, take the opportunity if it came,
Right.
but in my mind, I'm like, why not try to be them or be bigger than them? Why is like,
Exactly.
why can I not think like that?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, it'd be dope to work for those companies, but why don't I build my own company? And I, created Cartoon Connect Studios, and it may not be as big as them now, but in 5 to 10 years,
Come on.
it's no reason why I can't be on channel 45 on TV,
Come
Cartoon
on.
Connect, and it's a channel that got mainly African American cartoons or
Yeah.
just cartoons in general,
Right.
um, done by black animators or something like that. So I try to think big, man. I feel like
Yeah.
we're not put here on this earth to just be average. You was
Mhm.
born to be great. It just takes a lot of thinking and figuring out what you need to do to be great.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's huge, man. I think that's important what you say. And I think, and that's I think a part in everyone's career where they come to you and say, okay, Brandon, we got a huge we have a huge check, and you got to say, well, do I continue Cartoon Connect or do I take the check? And I think, like you said, it's just important. I've turned down agency jobs for because the simple fact I didn't want to, because you do a year and you back on the. Not saying I ain't working for an agency right now, but you do a year and you back. And I think it's important to build. It's important you're building something, not just for you, but like for other people to see. Like,
Yeah,
okay, diverse people. There's just something that represents like the city of New York. I always say, because you go to New York, there's so many different people, and I want something that represents America in its entirety.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
so many times that I've turned down people wanting to, buy into Cartoon Connect or
mm-hmm.
buy the company.
Right.
They could offer me $1 million today, and I'm gonna say no,
Mm.
just because I see such a bigger vision, and I
Right.
know if I can get other people to see that vision, I can make that money myself.
There you go.
It might not come today, tomorrow, it might not come next week or this year, but I know one day if I don't stop and I continue to keep working, I
Come
continue to
on.
keep learning, I continue to keep grinding, I could make $1 million with my own company that I
Easy.
started. There's nothing that can stop me from doing that. So,
Easy.
yeah, I've turned down so many like offers to people to buy into Cartoon Connect, to sell Cartoon Connect, but I'm like, nah,
Oh
it's
man.
it, it ain't there yet, but it's gonna get there.
Oh,
Just
every
wait
day.
on it.
Every day I'm seeing it is growing bigger and bigger, man. I think every step is growing bigger, man. Every step, bro. So my question, somebody asked me to ask you, like, what software are you using?
I use Anime Studio, and now it's called Moho Pro, but
Yeah.
I started using that because that was the program that I would watch tutorials on and that I
Hmm.
could get like when I would watch that I could understand it, quickly.
Hmm.
So I started using that, but I pretty soon I want to start getting into the process of learning other animation programs so
Hmm.
that if I'm working on a project I can, I don't have to just use my specific program that I'm using.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to Amir the artist for putting that note in there, and BW Bliss. I hope I'm saying that right. Believe in yourself. I think that's important. I mean, I've dabbled. I haven't touched 2D too strong, but I'm one of those people. I download a trial. I'm gonna give it
Yeah,
15 days. And I think honestly, one thing I love about the animation field is once you learn the core animation, it's like you can jump in any program and you'll be good in 30 days. It's kind of like learn how to drive. I tell people once you learn how to drive, you can go get a rental car. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You don't necessarily have to relearn driving. You're like, okay, where's my this, where's my that? But after 5-10 minutes, like, all right, I'm going. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, that's facts.
Yeah, so I think that's huge, man. That's very huge, man. So I mean, you talked about I think you mentioned video games. What do you see? I know it's kind of early, but are you thinking about if you just had to do it right now? Would you thinking a 2D or 3D? Are you everything Ron will go 3D? Any thoughts on that?
It would be so right now we're working on a little round round mobile game.
Mm-hmm.
We already announced it, so I think I'm okay to let everybody know. And this mobile game
Mm-hmm.
is it's 3D. Yeah, the
Awesome.
character design, everything is 3D.
Wow.
If I was like working on the game personally, I would probably do 2D just because that's the field that I'm best
Right.
at. But the little round round game right now is looking 3D, so that's gonna be dope, man. I'm excited for everybody to see that.
Man, I'm excited to play that one, man. It's the same voices from the show gonna be on there, right?
Yeah, Round Boy TV, he does his thing. I even heard some of the voices that he's put in for the video game, and it's going crazy.
That's what's up. So let me ask you. So the writing part, how do you come up with like? Because I know sometimes it's easy to come with one joke, but how you come with jokes back to back? That's when you're a comedian. I always say one joke you're funny, two jokes you're real funny, 4 or 5 jokes a weekly that makes you a comedian. So
Yeah.
how do you come up with the jokes like consistently and the hitters? What is your writing process?
So for Lil Ron Ron, Round Boy TV, he's super talented. So he does a lot of the jokes and stuff for Lil Ron Ron. Like that's his thing. So he's talented. He goes crazy with that. When it comes to me writing like parodies and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I really get a lot of my jokes based off of stuff that I've seen or like stuff that's happened to me and I thought was funny or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. I just kind of use like a lot of real life experiences and I kind of just exaggerate them a little bit because I feel like everything's funny when it's a little bit exaggerated.
Okay, that's what's up. So you pulling from life. That's hilarious. That's hilarious, man. Cause I'm rethinking some of the shows. It was an episode I came on. I think maybe 24 hours ago. By now, I think it was about being single. Man,
Yeah.
that was a hitter there, man. That was hilarious there, man. But how talk about like your kids? Are you something that you're teaching your kids to anime? I know they're probably young, but are you something you would like to see your children do, like carry on, or how do you feel about that?
My kids are pretty young, but my daughter loves to draw. So you
Oh,
know what I'm saying. If this is something that she wants to get into, I'm like 100% behind her on that. She sees me draw, and she like I think she's in second grade now, but in like kindergarten, you go to school on the last day of kindergarten and see like the stuff they made, and she had a picture where they would hold up a sign and say what you wanted to be for a living. And her said an artist, because she
wow.
goes to school and tells everybody she wants to be an artist like her dad.
Oh,
So,
wow.
man, it makes me feel like I'm doing something, something they
Just,
could look up to.
mm-hmm. That's what's up. Speaking of like style, how did you get the run style? Did you go through iterations, or was you just kind of hopped on it?
It started off, it was like deeply inspired by the Proud Family because that's like one of my top favorite cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
So it started off inspired by that, but then when I felt like it looked way too close to that.
Right.
By season two, that's when I was like, okay, it's time to adapt my own style with it. and it really just came out of nowhere. I just like moved around, different things from the original design,
Mm-hmm.
and made it look a little bit more like 2.5D. Because as you can see,
Right.
Ron will do like a head turn or a
Mm-hmm.
body turn. So I just kind of added that to it, and it just developed itself.
Wow, that's what's up, man. Because I feel like it's such because with cartoons from the untrained eye look the same, but from a trained eye, I mean every show has its own style, and it's like for me,
Yeah.
I look at it, it's like it's hard. It's like every style's been like kind of done. You know what I mean? But I see like, dang, how did you get your own style? And it's identifiable and it's marketable. And it's like, okay, I think it's good enough to say, oh, somebody's copying your style. I think that's
I
that's.
I think the best part about it is looking at so many different styles and
Mm-hmm.
taking, something small that you learned from that style, adding it here, something small from this style, adding it here. Because since everything is pretty much already done, the best thing
Mm-hmm.
you can do is be unique. So if
Yeah.
I could find a way to make this look different while being inspired by, other things, then it's right on point.
Mm, that's important. So do you use paper and pencil sometimes? Do you still go back to the earlier days, or are super digital? Are you like just comfortably digitally?
I do use paper and pencil every now and then, but with the way technology is with the
Mm-hmm.
iPads, and because I have an iPad and I use Procreate, where it feels
Mm-hmm.
like pencil and paper, but I'm still on the tablet.
Right.
I use that a lot. Like I do storyboards for companies and videos. I go straight to iPad,
Mm.
Procreate, and use that. But I still use pencil and paper every now and then, especially when I'm doing like a painting or like canvas art or something like that.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. So you still do for other companies stuff like that. Is that previs type work? You do any freelance previs?
Yeah, yeah. So usually when I do a project, like somebody came to me today, actually
Mm-hmm.
before this, asking if I can do a project, and the first thing they wanted to see was storyboarding. So I'll go straight to the iPad or
Mm.
pencil and paper, get a storyboard template, and hand draw some storyboarding to see if I can get the idea to where they want it to be before I start the animation.
Yeah, man. I feel like working in like the film industry, that was a crucial. That was like when you first see the movie, like the story, but the script is one thing. But when you start seeing it visually, like see the movie, I feel like the storyboard is so important. I think a lot of independent people overlook the process of planning. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, for sure.
to see it, man. I was looking at your backgrounds, how you have them looking 3 dimensional. I was like, man, that's what's up. I feel like because them line, all it takes is one bad line and he uses a wrap. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you got it on point, man. You got it on point. So let me ask you for the next person who wants to look. I want to be up there with Brandon Reed one day. What advice would you give them? They're coming out of high school. What advice would you give them?
It's usually three things that I tell them. I usually say, first off, be unique. If you could be
Mm,
unique, it's gonna set you apart from everybody else. Because if you
mm,
come in with the same stuff, it's hard to keep up with somebody who's doing that same thing but doing it faster, or
yeah.
just doing it at a different level. So first thing is be unique. The second thing is be dedicated, because if you're not dedicated to it, man, it's not even gonna hit the way you want it to. You gotta stay
Mm,
dedicated, because if you give up, you probably gonna be giving up right before your time comes.
mm,
It's all about timing, and when I feel like when things are supposed to happen for you, they're gonna happen.
right.
So being unique, being dedicated, and being consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last thing is consistency. Because if you're not consistent, people gonna forget that you're doing, what you're doing. I know animation is a very time consuming thing, so what I like to do is start off with smaller projects if I need to be consistent. So
Mm,
maybe instead of doing 5 minute cartoons, I'm like, let me do 1 minute cartoons so I can get these out faster, so people can see
yeah.
what I can do quicker,
Mm,
rather than doing long drawn out projects and putting it out every once in a while.
mm. I feel like that's something I just talked to somebody else about. That what you said, piggyback what you said, is just doing shorter projects. The longer projects, it take you maybe 6 months to do, and you might not execute, and you waste 6 months. But if you do it
Yeah,
in steps and say, look, what can I do? And I feel like you started, what can you do in a day? And then say, okay, well, what can I do in a week? And then you execute that, and say, what can I do in a month? And then you can build. And sometimes it's good to do month to month to month, and then until you can build up to it. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. My bad. It's a
It's
question
a
that just
question.
popped up.
Go ahead.
If I could answer that,
Yeah,
it
go
says,
ahead.
how do you stay consistent and dedicated when the motivation just not there at the moment? I
Mm-hmm.
definitely have those times. Like the last 2 days, I'll tell a story. The last 2 days, I was not. dedicated. Or I
Mm,
mean, it's not that I wasn't dedicated, I wasn't motivated. I was a little bit depressed because I got all this stuff on my list, and I'm like, how am I gonna get this stuff done?
mm,
And all it took was me to really sit down and think about, the bigger picture,
mm-hmm.
um, because it's so much that I want to do. If I keep taking these days where I'm like, man, I'm not really motivated or something to do this, it's just taking me longer to get to where I want to be. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it take me to find some motivation. Like
Mm,
the other day, I sat and watched the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie. I've seen that movie 30 times, but
come
the
on,
animation on it is just so great that I'm
it's
like,
beautiful.
man, I got to do something. In my mind, I'm like, man, I can do something like this. Let me get back up and get back to work.
There you
So
go.
it's just that, and it's really all about your why. When you think about why you're doing this and what you're doing it for, that's motivation in itself. Because when I
Yep.
wake up every morning, all of my kids live with me. So when I wake up every morning, I'm looking at them like, okay, I got to make something happen because
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a job to go clock into. So if I don't make something happen, we are just gonna be sitting there looking at each other. So
Yeah,
I got to
yeah.
get to it.
You got that real life build motivation. But that's crucial.
Yeah,
Anybody got questions, y'all can chime in. But I think that's important, man, because I think that I feel like the in a creative field, people get in it because it's you're doing entertainment, but it's still work on the opposite end
yeah,
of it. You know what I mean? When you're done, it's entertainment. When you grind it, it's work. I think it's important to just go in there and just stay self motivated. Sometimes you just gotta get up and do it. You know what I mean? Find your motivation. Give yourself an excuse to be motivated. You know what I mean? I was watching the
yeah,
Michael Jordan documentary, and it felt like everything motivated him. Somebody look at him wrong. Oh, no, that's personal. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It was motivation, and then you look at like they was to win 6 times. Not to get off topic, but to win 6 times, you got to be really motivated. You know what I mean? You got to be really driven. You got to be really passionate. I think that's something we can kind of take some takes a notice of and just learn from that, man. Being
Yeah,
motivated.
motivational stories in general. Like
Mm-hmm.
last night. I watched the NBA draft not only because I wanted to see which players went to, but
Right.
because in the NBA draft, the best part about the draft, in my opinion, is you get to see their backstory, why
Oh
they're
yeah.
doing it, and their dreams come true.
Mm.
I don't know what it is about seeing somebody's dream come true that
Come on,
motivates
man.
me, but I turn super saiyan when I see that. Like I sat down and I'm watching the draft like, man, these young
uh,
cats really
yeah.
stayed stuck with it through high school, through college,
Yeah.
and now they becoming a pro. You know how hard it is to become a pro
Oh my
at
goodness.
a sport. It's like in my mind, I'm like, man, watching these young dudes get emotional about this, I'm like,
Come on.
man, I got to get up and get to it.
Come on. I was watching the Lamar Ball, the youngest one, and I was
Yeah,
watching and they showed him like as a kid, like 2 years, 3 years old, and he was dribbling and shooting. I'm thinking, I just from the his dad perspective, I can see his dad pushing him, pushing him, pushing him, and all those years and the training and this and sacrifice and all that, and for his dream, like you're right, it's super emotional to see somebody's dream come to fruition. You know what I mean? It really it's the start of their career, but people say it's the start, but honestly, their career started when it was 3 years old. Every day
yeah,
they was practicing and all that. Man, that's amazing to see a milestone in their career. Now whether it gets to the NBA, what happens, who knows? But like, just to get to that point, you know what I mean? And they're so young, like be like 19. Like God, they all the because I used to go to these record like videos for little league games, and I would watch
yeah,
like the mass of people come in, and it would be crazy. And these kids would be, I mean, I wouldn't say they're professional, but they were pros, man. They would be eating, exercising, trying to play, and it'd be like young pros playing against them. They were playing hard, and it was
yeah.
crazy. So yeah, I think that's important, man. I think it's about that motivation. So speaking of, I know we didn't talk about, but a little Ron Ron movie. Am I breaking ground there? Is that a possibility we're gonna get?
It's definitely a possibility, and it's definitely something we do want to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's why every season we'll do 10, 12 episodes in the
Right.
season. Most of them are connected, so when you watch them all together in one sitting, it's like a movie.
Yeah.
Until we get that chance to go big screen with it, until
Mm-hmm.
somebody reaches out and say, hey, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we're gonna keep making these mini movies on YouTube, but that's definitely something that we're looking forward to. And I can also announce that I'm working on a movie with
Mm.
Cartoon Connect Studios.
Wow.
First independent movie. This is about to be one of the biggest projects of my career. I
Mm.
feel as though It's gonna be called The Examples. I've been tapping into,
Wow.
a side where I want to get into telling stories with, superhero stories and action and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So, I'm really looking forward to this project, and
Mm-hmm.
my goal is to have it, have the premiere in a theater. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, with my company not being as big as it is, it might be a little difficult to get it in multiple theaters. But if I have to go on tour to take it to every city and personally pay to put this in a theater,
Come
that's
on.
what I'm gonna do. Like that's how big, I see this project being. And it's the
Hey,
first, independent film under Cartoon Connect Studios. So man, I'm OD excited for it.
hey, man, I'm bringing me and everybody I know to that joint, man. Just facts. I mean, I would actually did it. I did an independent movie, and I bought it at a theater. And what you can do is you go to a dollar theater, right? And they charge you per seat, and each seat be like 250 or something like that. And
Yeah.
then you looking at maybe like 50 seats, so it'd be under round like $200 or something like that. It's not crazy to buy at a theater, and then you do the whole day pass, and they strike a deal with you. So I mean, buying at a theater and doing there was a movie on Netflix where Eddie Murphy played this comedian, and he put out his Dolomite, and he did something similar. But I feel like that strategy can still work. You go to chocolate cities or go to where your fan bases are, and you buy out theaters straight up and get your money back. People pay for the ticket. You can get your money back instantly, man. So I know it can happen. But I believe in your vision, man. I definitely believe, bro.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. We already got the script's not 100% done. We probably got a couple more scenes left. So once we get that, man, we straight into animation mode, and man, literally one of the biggest projects in my career. To be doing a full movie, it's like it's a dream come true.
Man, that's huge, man. I think that's important, man. Definitely, man. I can't wait to see it, bro. I can't wait to watch, man. It's gonna be super entertaining, man. So I mean, I know you're a busy man, and I try to keep it under an hour, man. I appreciate you being early and on time and all that stuff. But before we go, I gotta ask these last questions. People always ask me to ask. Are you a Mac or PC?
PC, but like if I'm traveling, I always take I take my Mac with me. Like at home,
Okay,
I'm a PC guy because I know the ins and outs of PCs.
right.
I've been using that since I was little, but I use iPad, to
Mm-hmm.
draw on certain things. So, but I guess I would say I'm more of a PC guy.
Okay. Are you an Android or iPhone?
Um, I'm like torn in between the two on that one because I have an iPhone,
Right.
but I enjoyed my Android a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of in between. But right now I have an iPhone.
Oh, that's what's up. So you been both from all of them. You got every device in there. You got the iPad,
Yeah,
the iPhone, the Android, the Mac, the PC. You got them all, man. So, I see you. I see you on social. You had the PS5. I mean,
yeah.
how you liking it? How you liking it?
Man, it's dope. Like, just from the graphics, first off, it's crazy. Like, I'm playing the Miles Morales game. That motivated me just cutting the game on. I'm like, yo, look at it's a scene when you first cut the game on. He's standing
Right.
on the bus,
Uh huh.
before like this the title screen, and
Right.
it goes through different like camera angles of like his clothing, his face, and I'm like, yo, this looks like a real person. Like, how did they
Wow.
do? You know what I'm saying? Just looking
Wow.
at that. Um, First off, the graphics dope. This console in general, I can see why it's such a uproar about it because this next gen stuff it's on the next level.
Wow, man. I definitely got. I haven't got my PS5 yet, but I'm definitely gonna get mine. That
Oh,
Miles
they low
Morales
key
is.
about to go on sale in like an hour on Walmart if you want to try to get
Hey,
one.
man. Hey, wait, man. Hey, man. He ain't say nothing but a word. I'm about to have to go queue mine up right now. Shoot.
Yeah, I heard
Pick that up.
they was gonna be releasing them at 3 p.m. on Walmart's website today, and
Wow.
they're gonna have some more available on Black Friday. So I know my homie's trying to get one around
You
3
talking
today
about in store or online?
online.
Online. Okay, cool. I click and get that. Man, I might have to go ahead because you got honestly you gotta treat yourself, and you can't. All work is cool,
Yeah,
but I've seen they got this thing called burnout, and I've seen a lot of people doing real well, and they just go so hard. Like this is a marathon. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So you got to know when to take breaks. If you go 100%, then you're gonna burn yourself out and can't go.
Man,
Um,
I burn myself out multiple. Like I do it all the time. It's
mm,
bad to say because I don't think people should do this, but that's just how I'm. I don't know. It's just how I'm programmed. Like I will work. Usually when the months start,
mm-hmm,
I'm all go
right.
until like around the 20th, I done worked so hard throughout the beginning of the month that I'm physically exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I even get a little like cold from it because I haven't
Wow.
been taking care of myself as best as
Wow.
I, possibly could. But I will grind it out until I can't no more. And then I gotta lay my butt down for a couple days and
Mm-hmm.
rejuvenate, and then I'm jumping right back on it. I don't think people should do that, but that's just how I'm wired. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I gotta go until I can't no more so I could get to where I need to be. Because I feel like the moment I start taking a rest and taking a
Mm-hmm.
break, it's somebody that's doing exactly what I should be doing.
Yeah, I feel you, man. And on top of that, you looking on social, and I see so much great artwork and so much. You're not the only one in this race, and so you have to, be competitive and try to be smart and go about things the right way and whatnot. But you're right. It's you got to find that, and that's I'm always working on that workflow. I'm a big component of workflow. What's your workflow? And I think it's you have to get a nice workflow, even if you're working 10 hours a day. You know what I mean? And then balance them with the kids. You know what I'm saying? To have opportunity to spend time with. I mean, my kids when I'm working, my kids are doing their schoolwork right in the office. I got desks for them, the whole
Yeah,
knot. So that way I can like, oh, we got a question. I answer it. I go back to work. And yeah, we go into schoolwork and I let them go off and we go to the park and come back. But I think it's just trying to two birds with one stone. But I'm still working on that workflow, man. I know a lot of animators. Animators are really Ben Mice talking to other animators, they work a real long hours, man. There's a
yeah.
I forgot his name. You ever heard Di Stagio?
Sounds familiar.
It's a animation studio in Japan. It's black owned,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I remember the article they just put out recently, talking about how isn't it the first black owned Japanese animation studio?
yeah, it is. I reached out to him on Instagram. He a real dope dude. But I was just watching his YouTube channel, and he has a whole YouTube channel, and he does like him and his partner Arthel, they do like videos where they just kind of talk about different industry topics, and they do like maybe 30 minutes or something like that. But it's really intriguing because they talk about the work hours over there, and I'm like, man, those work hours is work in Japan. I was like, man, those some like good hours. They're getting off at 9 o'clock. I'm like, that's some good hours. And over here,
Yeah.
you be getting off like 2, 3 a.m. So
Yeah, especially when you have kids. Like I try
come
to
on,
tailor my work schedule around with my kids. It's sleep or not here. Like right now they
yeah,
at school, so I'm
mm-hmm.
working on work stuff till they get home.
Mm-hmm.
But when they do get home, I try to chill upstairs. I might do a little work in the living room while they,
Right,
working on homework. But I usually wait until like 8:30 at night when they go to
mm-hmm.
bed. Then
Yeah,
it's go time. I'm up till about 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning until I just
that's
my body can't animate no more.
that's exactly what I do. I go to about my thing. I try to go to sleep around 8 and wake up around 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then
Yeah.
stay up all day and then go to sleep around 8 again. That way I
That's
can get that
that's a
full
good
day.
idea. I need to probably try that because I will
Yeah,
stay up until 3, knowing I got to get up and take the kids to school at
yeah.
8. So it's like I know good and well I'm only getting 4 5 hours of sleep. I probably need to stop doing that.
Man, I mean, after a while, boy, that body, I try to, I got some like wheatgrass over here. I ain't play. I got some wheatgrass. I try to, eat healthy because if you're doing a bad lifestyle, you got to eat healthy to balance it out. You can't be over here because I used to be over here eating. Used to be like last week, I used to over here eating sweets and pies and stuff because I feel like if I have the sugar energy, I can work way better. But I'm like, nah, man, I got to make sure I eat healthy and for longevity. I can't be thinking about it
Yeah,
temporary because I don't
yeah,
want to
for
have no
sure.
stroke over here working whatnot. But I mean, I think that's important, man. But I had the opportunity. I'm using a game engine to do some animation. I love to trust in new software. So I mean, it's. Have you ever tried Blender? I'm so curious.
I think I downloaded it once, but I didn't get a chance to do a full like test project in it.
Right.
Like I downloaded and messed around with it,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like I needed a lot more knowledge. Like I needed to sit down and watch more
Right.
tutorials or
Right.
just really figure it out a little bit more.
Yeah. I feel like you'll take to it, man. I definitely feel like with your style, your work ethic, you know what I mean. You're gonna have to dedicate time to learn it. But I feel like with your work, because they have a huge 2D pipeline that's been integrated into their 3D system. It's gonna be a learning curve. It may take a couple of months to figure it out, but I feel like when you get it, man, the sky's the limit. What you gonna do with it,
You know
man?
what else I've been trying? I have a VR headset, so I've been
Ooh.
trying like animation and stuff in there too. And it's pretty dope. I have a question. I mean, not a question. I have a program in there that I've been wanting to learn. I think it's called Quill. And
I heard about
it's
that.
I think it might have been used kind of in the Into the Spider-Verse movie, or somebody
It
used it
was.
in an example or something like that. So that was something I wanted to sit down and start learning too, because I have the Oculus Rift. So I
Mm,
want to really start learning how to animate, or at least draw backgrounds in VR, because
yeah.
that would up the background quality and stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, I actually reached out to when I found out when I seen Spider Man. I watched that being like umpteen time. So what I did was like, screw this. I went to the credits and I started hitting up everybody who worked on the project, everybody who was a
Yeah,
3D person. Because everybody's on the internet nowadays. So I Google them up, like, hey man, what did you do? And you could see their portfolio, and I can see some of their work, like some of their mock-ups. Like some of the mock-ups were better than the actual movie. So I'll send the
yeah.
links. But like, man, it was so inspiring to sit down and talk to him and reach out to him. And like the program you're talking about, a lot of the cars they drew on top of the cars. Like I'm not an artist like that, but man, it was very inspiring to see some of their work and see some of their penmanship and whatnot. I think that was a huge. Honestly, I think Spider-Man is the first teen animated movie, like because before everything was like Disney and Pixar, and those
Yeah.
are great companies and whatnot. But I think their target audience is a little bit younger. Like I don't think they had a target audience in the teen, so we never seen like one with some action in it from a major corporation. And I think Sony was the first one to do it. From where I stand, I never seen a 3D
And
action
it
film.
was so unique how they did it. Like there's no
Yeah,
other movie that you can find that looks like that.
yeah,
That like just everything about that movie was so unique, and I'm super excited because they already working on the second one.
oh yeah.
I remember the day I took my kids to go watch the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I was like glued to it. Like I'm
Yeah,
like, this is probably like the best animation I've ever seen, because there's so many different things that went into it. It's like
yeah,
it's crazy. I know one thing I noticed from the movie is they said the way it's animated, that you can pause the movie on any frame and it's gonna be like a still frame.
yeah.
And I was like, that's fire.
Yeah, and I did it too. I paused the movie just to make. They're not lying, bro. Every
Yeah,
shot is
it's facts.
it's facts. Every shot it was like, dang, it's crispy. Just like So man, I think honestly, animated movies. I feel like I said, everything like Lion King, uh, um, a lot of the princess. There was nothing. I've never seen a 3D movie geared to anybody teen and above. Point blank. Period.
Yeah,
Um, and that's the only one. You know what I mean? I think they was able to get that cartoon, that toon look, and then that 3D look, and then it was going in between with pop frames and all that. I was like, this is amazing, and the storyline was fire. Um, storyline was fire. I'm gonna try to get the director on the show next week, not next week, but in a couple of weeks. So I'm gonna reach out to
yeah,
him.
I'm gonna
But
definitely be tuning into that because I gotta hear about that.
yeah, I mean it's I mean he's on Twitter. And I mean he's super dope dude. So I'm gonna definitely reach out to him. But yeah, man, it's the process. And I watch all the behind the scene videos, and like if you buy the movie, they have the storyboard, the animated storyboard. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness! And then they show you the first version of the movie, and then they have the second version of the movie. I'm like, man, and you see the edits and what they took out and what they kept in and whatnot. I think it was just super dope. You can see the artist
yeah. It's
drawings.
I low key got where's that right here? I got the art book for it.
Oh, facts! I got mine in the room too, man. Hey,
There's
I
like one of my favorite art books too, because it's like it's just so much
oh
in
my
there
goodness.
to see from the movie, that could inspire you. You know.
It's so much, man. And then on top of that, it's not skill plays a part, but it's like the details they put into like certain things of the character, like the way like the like you can look at the character and say a lot about him. You know what I mean? I feel
Yeah,
like that was something I try to bring into my art style. Like just you can kind of say, okay, boom, the haircut, the shoes, stuff like hanging off of them and stuff like that. Like just you can it just reads the character, man. You can almost see what the character's gonna say before you even hear him.
yeah.
It's crucial, man. So I mean, that was one. I mean, you watch animation on Netflix if you're gonna get a chance.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When I'm working, I try to put like sometimes I try to put animation on the other screen, but
Mm-hmm.
it'll distract me sometimes. So I try not to do that as much. I know one series that I watched was called like Love and Robots or something like that, and
Oh
it
man, that's
was
a dope one.
it was dope because it had so many different, types of animation. And actually, one of the series in there was made by the guy who worked on Into the Spider Verse.
Oh wow.
So that was dope too. But
Yeah.
that was one of the things I remember watching while I was animating that like really inspired me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. A lot of that stuff is very creative. I feel like when you come to animation, when it comes to film, there's only so much you can do, right? But when it comes to animation, technically the sky is the limit. You know what I mean? You have like 1,000 different styles and new technology and old technology and different ways you can do it, and even talking about VR, and I mean, it's just so much you can do. You know what I mean? Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
talking about the next season's coming. That's definitely right. It's a
Yeah,
season
that's what
coming.
I low key just checked the other day because I was like, man, I wonder when that next season comes.
When it's gonna drop. I actually, the one of the guys are on. I seen his link, but one of the guys who worked on one of the scenes is, I mean, he's active on Facebook, so it's pretty dope to see him critique a lot of people's work. But I look up animation studios, be like, okay, what team did that? You know what I mean? I want to know the team. I want to know
Yeah,
the guy. I want to make my build my people around me that to something I kind of look up to. So it's pretty dope to see people. You know, before back in the days you couldn't do it. With the internet wasn't there. It's like, psh, you know. But now you can actually see the people and reach out to them that they worked on a project. Yeah, man.
yeah, no, for sure. In the meantime, I just been reading different books, getting different art books.
Mm,
Just trying to find something that's gonna motivate me to do, something I haven't done before.
yeah, my thing is, and what I'm working on right now is getting an art style that I can execute on a timely manner. Because what I like about yours is you got a nice art style, but you can execute it on a timely manner. I think if you do a really intricate like Spider-Man, it pushes back your ETA. You know what I mean? Like he's saying, it's
Yeah,
different art styles, and I think nowadays, I think to hit that, that YouTube, you know way more about it than me, but to hit the right now number, you got to be able to execute projects on a short amount of time. Versus, I think they
yeah, for
spent
sure.
4 or 5 years on that movie. So, you know what I mean? It's just finding that workflow. I would say is super huge. You know what I mean? Super
Yeah,
huge.
like my smaller well, not smaller series number wise, but
Mhm.
like animation wise, like Lil Ron Ron, Gotta Be Mo. I could get those done pretty fast because the style isn't OD crazy. But then when I do series like Lumen, my comic book series,
Mm,
each scene has a lot more drawing and
I
animation
noticed.
done in it. So
Yeah.
with that, it'll take me a month to do an episode. Where with Lil Ron Ron or something like that, it could take me a week to 2 weeks.
Mm, I noticed. It calls for the visuals, man. It calls for the visuals. So I think that's why it's important to hopefully build a team. I think nowadays you can build a team on the internet, like having like your team you have now, like 5 people across, and even if you go overseas and get a couple of guys, a couple of ladies, um, you can have that team built out, man, and be able to execute faster. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's how I
crucial.
built mine. A lot of I've met people, from Fiverr, people
Mm-hmm.
just animators I've met, on YouTube that are doing YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my team I built from just meeting and reaching out to people, and it makes it so that we can all come together and help each other,
Mm-hmm.
finish projects and make dreams come true.
Man, that's what's up, man. I think working together is super crucial, man. It's finding that a beneficial partnership. You know what I mean, where both people can benefit from it. I think that's mad crucial, man. Mad crucial. But all right, so I don't want to take too much of your time, man. I appreciate you taking the time and reaching out and reaching back and whatnot. And you're a very inspiration to everybody out there. I'm sure people are gonna watch it. You know what I mean, and see exactly just to see somebody behind the cameras, man. I want to say, truly thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you. You know what I mean. And I
Hey,
applaud
thank you
everything
for
you're
having
doing.
me, man. I'm glad to be on.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I want to say peace to everybody out there. Y'all take it easy.